Just a little bit.
I was like, why am I talking to myself anyway?
I was wondering. I was like, what is going on?
Yep, that's how this episode's going to go. It just seems that way. It's episode 49. I'm getting excited. We're gearing up here for the HRL season opener. We just had Edgewood last weekend. We'll discuss a little bit of that after we have our guests come on. We have Alan Nelson and Tom Thompson on, the promoters of the Cambridge Classic, the longest standing race in inboard hydroplane. I think all of hydroplane racing, if I'm not mistaken. I remember plenty of years going to this race. This is obviously where we kind of grew up. What do you guys think of it coming up before we get them on?
I think it's an awesome race. Just growing up there brings back tons of memories. Just watching races when I was little, and then finally getting the race there. When I got my start in inboard, it's a good feeling. It's ran by good people. It's a cool town, nice little town. You get a warm welcome there, so it's always good racing. I mean, it's a good course, and the chop tank can get choppy at times, but we always seem to run there most of the time, and I love it. It's a good race. It's a good course. What about you, Austin?
Yeah.
No, Cambridge is one of those, I guess you could say, OGs, because any racer that you talk to that's been around a while or new, truthfully, they have some sort of memory or something from Cambridge, whether it's the famous Cambridge Storms or just some really great racing on the teardrop course. It's quite an event.
Definitely, and that's where your first heat in an inboard hydroplane was, right?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Both in an outboard and an inboard, actually.
Oh yeah. Did you crash that J stock like your brother?
Nope.
My brother, I mean Kyle, not Bobby.
Yeah. No, I did much better. I kept it above the water. It was a lot harder to get on plane, I'll say that. I had people pushing it down as they're starting the engine, trying to get it on plane.
Let's bring our other host in here and get his opinion on Cambridge before we bring Alan and Tom on. A little late, but that's okay.
There he is.
So he got a steering wheel in front of him. Look at this guy. All right, Kyle, we were just discussing Cambridge before we bring Alan and Tom on. What's your fast thoughts on the Cambridge race? HRL, APBA, whichever one, the Cambridge area.
I would imagine Cambridge is probably the first race I ever went to, unless it was Waterford being your guys' home race. And I've been there, I'm going to guess, well over 20 times. So outside of Valleyfield and some of the bigger races, Cambridge is always going to be my favorite. It's a good town, good atmosphere. See a lot of the same people that show up to that race every year, which is really cool, seeing reoccurring fans. I don't know that a lot of some race sites get to see that, but
you get the snow
it's cool to see some of the locals that you've been. There's some guys that I've seen there every year since I was a kid.
There you go. So I think without further ado, we'll bring on the brains and the muscle behind the Cambridge Classic, and you can choose which one's which.
How's it going?
Welcome, Tom and Alan. How you doing?
Good. Fine, thank you. Good.
I couldn't think of a better intro myself, So it's about time. You guys have been working on this race, obviously, since the time it stops after last year in May. What are you guys' thoughts on how things are progressing, different changes you've had this year, anything new? Those kind of quick thoughts on that.
You're right. We've been agonizing a lot since last year, figure out what do you get to do to go to the next level. And we have the concert on Friday night. You guys have talked about it some over the last couple of months, and that in order to pay the bills and to make this thing happen, you got to have something beside a boat race. And we've been kind of struggling as to what that something is, and that will attract people to come in. And we've got a concert with a group that is pretty well known here on the peninsula. They've got a good following. We're hoping to draw people in on Friday night. HRL is going to have the drivers come in and be part of a session so they can meet the crowd some, and that's going to be good for them and good for the community as well. So we picked up a couple of different sponsors this year. Nothing huge, but but it all helps. And I'll, transparency is not one of my strong suits, but we're going into this year, I think, with a good chance of being able to come out financially whole, and that's really what we got to get to. I mean, if we don't, it won't continue.
Fair enough.
It's that simple.
For sure. Now, how many years is this now that it's been going on? I don't have it right in front of me.
Well, we're calling it 114. It's
Wow.
We started, the first race was here in 1911. I know they raced some during the war. We have programs for a lot of those, and I'm saying World War II years. We have programs from a lot of those years. There's some question about a couple of years that we missed, and then we know we missed the 2 years of COVID. But other than that, I mean, it's been
awesome.
there's been something here every year.
That's awesome.
That's just incredible. I mean, talk a little bit about, I think a lot of the fans don't know about the park and how it was kind of built, I believe, for racing. Do you have the story behind that?
When the race first started, we raced at the yacht club. That's where the race was. They actually had a platform out there for the start-finish line, and you raced out in the river. As years went by, the actual racers in the community, Skeeter Johnson and Sarge Johnson and a bunch of them, started building Rooster Island, where the pits are now. Great Marsh on piles. It was just that. It was a marsh. They started taking truckloads of dirt in there and built the park. That's kind of why we have ongoing rights to the park. There's still people that remember the park was built by boat racers, so allowing us to have it once a year, twice a year with the Ken Island race really hasn't become an issue. So a lot of people are forgetting that the racers actually are the ones that did that. And if some you guys might remember a little bit, years ago, there was really bad weather, and the week before, so it was really wet. And Alan and I made the decision to bring truckloads of stone in and make the driveway, because we knew we could do it. If we had to take it back out, we took it out. The city appreciated it, and that's when they built the track.
Oh, wow.
We didn't have to take it out. So the city's been behind this race for a very long time. It's been a big plus for us.
That's incredible.
Awesome. That's
so
really
I guess
cool.
that leads in with the city involvement. How do you feel like you give back? How do you feel like the hydroplane races give back to the city of Cambridge and vice versa, besides what you just kind of spoke on?
Well, it's we put a tagline to this race a number of years ago. We said it's a community event by and for the community, and by that, the city and the county both used to financially help out with the race, and they haven't been able to do that for a number of years, but they have helped us with services, whether it be trash or supplying equipment and doing different things for us. They've been great about doing that. And I think the benefit of the race economically, when you get, in the case of the May weekend, we'll have in the process approximately 60 teams in town. And, a lot of those are 4, 5, 6 people part of the team. And so you start multiplying that out, and the hotel rooms, a lot of people coming in motorhomes, I know, but still, there's a lot of hotel rooms used up, and then folks go into town, and the town tries to be welcoming to people coming in. And another piece that I've talked about quite a bit with our local folks is that it's not just the race weekend that they do it, but people will come back here during the year and get and just visit. And we've got several racers that have actually bought homes in the area over the years, and so they'll come into the area, like what they see, and come back.
Oh, it's definitely a good area. I always enjoy going to Cambridge. One of my favorite things is going over the bridge, and when I was little, I did it. I still do it, and I look over and I'm like trying to see who's in the pits by the time I get there, and I don't know. It was I just got tons of memories there. It is one of top 2 of my favorite races. I mean, Ken Island and Cambridge by far. I would go to Cambridge every weekend if you guys had it. Like it's just it's awesome, especially the race course. The race course, the size of it, the small turn and big turn. I don't think you have a faster turn than turn 2 in Cambridge. Turn 2 in Cambridge, for some reason, you just haul ass through there, and it's a blast.
Well, a while back, we went through a transition, and Robert Bromwell. Most of you guys aren't old enough to have been around when Robert was here, but Robert was the Commodore that led the club through a lot of our early growth. And we kind of got to a point when Robert stepped down and Tom came on board as Commodore and said, we got to do some things different. And one of the things that was always put out there was this was going to be a racer's race. It made it for the boat racers to come to Cambridge. It was the course. Tom had helped lead the efforts to change the course around. We had a couple of different measured courses, approved courses, and adjusted those to what we have today. And it's, Tom did that, and it's a racer helping direct it. But the mindset of the club has always been, we want to have good racers come to Cambridge. If you get a good show, then the spectators will follow it.
Yeah,
I agree.
Exactly. So over the years, obviously the club has had some faces come and go. How have you guys faced those challenges of different people coming and going in the club? Are you gaining new membership that's helping you guys out, or is it kind of dwindling and getting harder on your backs?
I became Commodore in 1992.
God damn, I was born then.
I don't know if I need to say much more than that. And the way that works, because people always wonder, Alan and I we don't care about, there is no who's in charge. Alan handles certain things and I handle certain things, and then there's certain things we handle together, and that's just the way it is. You can ask either one of us anything and we can take care of it. As far as getting new people in, with the chamber coming in and Bill Christopher, we've got some new faces that's helped out, and that's part of something that Alan and I have talked about for years. If we don't get more people to help, other than the 9 or 10 people that are not paid, obviously, but full-time help, we just can't keep going, because we're obviously not getting any younger. And you hear the same thing, all the racers from the past, they'll come out and see the race, but they're just not going to come help.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic. We want this thing to continue, and physically, I'm the old fart. I can't run across the pits like I used to, and so we need some, but even more important, we need new ideas. We need new thoughts, and so reach out to Bill and the chamber, and they jumped at the opportunity to make sure the race continued. They saw the value, both the heritage as well as the potential for economics. And so it's the last couple of years with them on board, it's been a little bit of a learning experience for them to figure out what's going on. Tom and I have told them, look, we're here for you to help out on the boat race side, but we're looking to you to help us on the other side to figure out what do we add to this so that it becomes financially stable. And coming up to, we met last night and kind of found out we're in decent shape financially. We've met our goals, so that's a big plus. Now we'll get through this, and that's helping the chamber get confident that they're going to do something and spend a lot of time on it. They don't want to come away with $1,000 or lose money on it. So they're looking to help their scholarship fund with what comes out of this, and we want them to do that. Now they're seeing the potential, and I'm hoping that we can leverage this year and next year make it even a bigger step.
Definitely. Yeah, I think like you said, we've had so many conversations. I think this podcast has opened our eyes to different things within the events. Obviously, we've never been in your position putting on events, but just seeing them all, talking to different people, and the ability to put on more things at the race than just the race is kind of eye-opening to how we can bring some financials back to the race site, because you can only sell so many hot dogs and carloads of people coming in and out. So I think there's a lot of things you guys have worked on. The kids area is awesome. That definitely gets families down there, gets people more involved. The concert Friday night, at least maybe someone will come to the concert, see the boats, think they're cool, and be like, I didn't even know the boat race was happening. I'll come back tomorrow. So all those things are definitely working in the right direction. And like I said, if you can get the chamber behind you, that they're excited about doing all those things, it's going to just continue to grow, and it's exciting to hear.
The one thing that I got to tell you, I'm not a yeah, it's already noted. I'm the old guy, and so a lot of the technology is not something I've embraced. Although I spent a career in the technology industry, but once I retired, it was kind of like I'd done enough of that. But the podcast has been great because I've listened to other people talk and coming to the conclusion that everybody involved in the promotion side is going through much of the same issue. Different folks have handled it different ways, and there's a lot for us to learn from each other. But the one thing that, and I'll just be very candid, frustrates me is that the racing community hasn't understood is that if you don't start supporting these race sites, they're going to go away. Yeah. Last weekend, 33 boats. Yeah. Come on.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's embarrassing.
I like to blame that on, we have boats out there. There's boats everywhere. I like to blame that on people who are strictly region racers.
Great.
The West Coast, yeah, I know they're not going to come out here, but we have Region 6, we have Region 3, we have Region 2. Well, I think they kind of mixed up Region 2 and 3 together now.
I think
but
2 and 3
if the Midwest and East Coast can band together and go to all these races, we would have a great turnout at every single event. But you have people, I know some people are limited with their budget and then their vacation time, but then there's people who can go to any race they want, but they just like to race in their region. And I'm not calling out Region 6. It goes for all regions. There's region racers in every region, and I wish they would get out of that mentality. We have an idea that we're going to start pushing on the podcast to try to get people to break away from that. We might even talk about that later. I'm not sure. But if we could have a great show, they just need to break out of that mentality that they just want to race in their region. I'd do away with regions if all possible.
Exactly.
And maybe that would up the participation from more teams at every race.
I think what people have to realize is look at the races, and Bobby, you and Brandon definitely can remember, even though you were young, you lost Essex because it stopped one year and you never got it back. Yep. We did the same thing with the race in Raleigh. 1 year stopped, they tried to get it back, couldn't get it back. There's so many races, especially in our area, that we'll stop this year. And that's one thing we're worried about. You stop 1 year and the people that don't want you to have the race become much stronger. Yeah. And those races have tried to come back and not been able to come back.
Nope.
And we don't want to be one of those.
I totally agree. Yeah. I think once you lose that momentum, it's hard to get going again. Hard to get traction to bring hard. Things back.
Waterford and Detroit,
just like in Waterford here,
examples.
The Waterford, it was a great race, except they didn't have it 1 year because of some issues, and then it's been nearly impossible to try to bring it back. They're still trying to bring it back, but how many years ago? That was
almost a decade.
Going on 8 years ago, I believe, or something like that, since we've had it. So
took Decatur 20.
If we get participation at all these races, just the East Coast boats band together and do it in all the classes, these races would do good. They would make a little bit more money and try to be financially stable for the following year and put on a good show. And that's what you need. You can't produce a half-ass show and expect spectators to be happy and come back the next day or the next year. So
in addition to that, Bobby, it's also going to introduce the sport to people that aren't there, and very likely bring you new racers. Somebody's going to say, "This is cool."
Yeah, it's a twofold
How do I do
problem. You got to
this?
get people down to
Yep.
watch them, but
Exactly.
we don't. It's not like we got it's not soccer or basketball or football. There's not a million kids around the world that are trying to play this sport. You gotta get them coming in so we can keep putting boats on the water.
I mean, to get more racers, I think APBA needs to step it up and try to do some promotion on trying to get people to the driving school. Like, so APBA tries to need to set up, like a big poster board or something that they send to all the race sites to set up for the driving school to promote the driving school that's in May. I mean, if you never see any advertisement besides on the internet about the driving school. You don't. I mean, so people at the race sites who go to the races, the spectators, and like it, they
Those
don't.
couple
They
guys
have no
that
clue
do
on how to get
to
involved.
promote it too. I mean, they do a damn good job, but it's basically a group of 3, maybe 4 people that are trying to, spread that all around the country.
And try to be a fan to grab someone during a race day to ask them how to get involved. I mean, race teams are running around 100 miles an hour trying to get their boat running, fix this, fix that, or do radios for their driver. And, it's just hard to reach fans and try to get them to get engaged with them and show them how to get involved. So I think some race sites need to try to, I'm not calling you guys out. I'm just saying some race sites need to try to figure out how to deliver the message to the fans on how to get involved and so we can try to get more participants.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think that transitions into when you guys decided to go to HRL instead of the APBA race. I'm sure you were met with a lot of resistance, probably some backtalk, things like that. What really was the driving force to make that decision? Was it the guaranteed boat count? Was it that they came in with their own crew, could run the pits, do all that stuff, and put on the event, and you guys could just do the pre-work, or what was the main thing?
I mean, the main thing was the show, the boat count. We actually, I mean, there's so much heritage here, and a lot of our sponsors, I mean, and I got to throw this out there because I think it's part of our heritage. Cambridge has the most world champion, national champion, world record setting, and Hall of Champion drivers of any other town there is
in the world.
So we're proud of that. And when those few what we consider big sponsors said, "Look, the show's not even there. We're going to quit doing this."
Yeah.
And that's when Alan and I said, "We got to do something." And then with the guaranteed show that HRL was bringing, because that's what your spectators want, that's what your sponsors want, even if they're doing it because of the guys that have been racing forever that they know, and girls. That's what it was. It was the show. I mean, the organization that HRL has in bringing the people certainly helps, but the show is what did it.
One of the things that I am extremely proud of our race is not only the people Tom mentioned, the legends that have come before us, but the things that we've accomplished around the race, race management issues. The Region 4 rescue team was born in Cambridge. Yep. What we have is a national rescue now started here in Cambridge with our fire department and a couple of divers that wanted to try something, and it grew from there. Race management, the crew that we've had over the years to run a race. When you can, you remember the 100th anniversary race we had back in 2010. Yep. And we had 105, I think, entries, something like that.
Yeah.
And everybody ran every day.
Yeah.
Over 30 heats a day, and we ran it, and it was
a major storm.
There's some races that can't get off with 40 boats.
Well, that's exactly okay. So
that's awesome.
To answer your question, Brandon, running the race for Tom and I and the guys and gals that we have with us, we can continue to do that, but we want this thing to keep going. And so we don't have those people training in the wings to be able to be the pit managers, to be the Oogies and the Barons and the others that have done this for so long. So HRL comes in, and my analogy is like bringing the circus to town. You get a field and have them and sell tickets and have them come, and they take care of the show, and that's what HRL does. So going forward, I mean, for a new race site, HRL's, they really bring quite a show.
Yeah,
they bring the numbers, and and not only do they bring the numbers, the folks, those of you that have earned that seat in HRL, you're competitive, and so we're going to have this year probably only 50 boats, but hey, that's a pretty good turnout. But it's going to be 50 very competitive boats.
Yeah, you'll have great competition on the water, great heats, great battles, and that's what the fans want. And when you see full classes go out in the water, not APBA full classes where you count 4 boats as a full class or 3 now. When I say a full class HRL, that's 8 boats going out in the water, and heat after heat after heat, 8 boats. That's what the fans want. I mean, they want the numbers out on the water, and HRL definitely provides that, and it's a very exciting show.
And Bobby, it's heat after heat. It's heat, and then a couple of minutes, and then another heat. Not a half hour, 45 minutes in between heats.
Yep, that's for sure.
I think it's like we said, the Triple Crown was one of those years where every race was intense. I mean, there was good action everywhere. So now you've kind of taken that mold and recreated it year in, year out. Everyone's looking forward to that. And I know a lot of your fans are disappointed about the Grand Prix this year, and hopefully they come back next year. But the show, I've been saying it as a Grand Prix person, the show is almost better without us. Because those 350 guys, I think, when they don't have Grand Prix there, they show up and show out. So they're going to be a little bit more aggressive there on the chop tank this year.
I got to say, the Triple Crown year,
a hell of an event.
I'm not sure if you could have had it at a better race site. I'm not trying to toot your guys' horn, but the way it was set up and the way it ran, it was smooth as could be, and it went off perfectly, and it was a great event. I mean, even you guys had the award presentation out near the fans, and we've been pushing that on the podcast. Is we think race sites need to either do a winner's dock or some type of award ceremony during the day out in front of the fans, because we need to get in front of the fans more. They need to see the drivers' faces, need to meet them, talk to them, because something like that could spark someone wanting to get involved, either buy a boat or help out or become a committee member. And that's what we need.
That's a big key.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yep.
But you got to get the races done like HRL does. You guys know they have a stop time.
Yeah.
It's going to be done by this time. And as far as Cambridge is concerned, and all the races I've run with HRL, I don't know that they very rarely have ever gone past their stop time.
Very rarely.
They're usually done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we might have been pushing it last year. Did you guys ever find the Loch Ness Monster that was out there? Destroying props.
Yeah. He resided in Canada.
Yeah. It was comical, especially hearing John Tomey walk around. Ain't nothing out there.
I will tell you something. I was sweating bullets on that boat out there last year.
Yeah, really? Like I wasn't convinced that something was out there, and they kept saying it. I'm like, you know what?
It's not there.
If I lived down there, I would throw a string.
Anything out there.
I'm like, I would throw a string of crab pots out there, but I don't. Crab pots aren't cheap, so I don't see people forgetting them and leaving them out there. So.
It was quite interesting. Couple hours, whatever it felt like. A couple hours, probably was only like a half hour, but
I'm sorry I missed being there.
I am too.
It was funny. They had the stream camera aimed at like the little convoy trolling back and forth.
I think things might have.
I was just waiting to see like somebody get excited, like, "Hey, we found it!"
Really?
It's just nothing the whole time.
or not be
Yeah, fair
excited if they found something that shouldn't be down there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The only
So you
thing
guys
you're
got
gonna
any
find
more?
is some props. There's some
You guys
props
got
out
any
there. I can
more
tell you that.
questions? Maybe, do you guys have any, you've been doing this for a long time, any comical stories to share from either promoting the event, things that have happened at the event,
There's
anything
got to be
out
an
of our
Oogie
camp?
story or something.
No, the only Oogie story I have is that the Triple Crown when he called me up and told me he's on his third pair of shoes because he burnt the soles off the first two. Because it was hot that year.
It was hot.
And that blacktop
Yeah,
was real hot.
I guess that's another point where you can touch on how much did it affect the fan turnout and the other things you had to do to promote the event being in May versus the late July date you used to have.
May's hurt us with our spectator fleet. Folks aren't getting their boats over. It depends on the weather leading up to it. But generally speaking, boats aren't going in the water around here. A lot of them until Memorial Day weekend, and so that's hurt us more than anything else. And I guess the other piece that's hurt some have been the fact that kids are still playing sports. School's still on, and
Yeah.
some of the school sports are going on. So for some, that has been a little bit of an issue. But the trade-off has been, basically weather,
The heat.
Yeah.
It's been easier for us, and most.
I remember
of the
there was a
time more
few years we got a
predictable.
storm like every year. There seemed like right when we were finishing the last heat for a couple years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
Every year where there was a porta-john that blew over.
Porta John blew
Was
over.
it the Triple Crown
a
year
tent-
where
a
it
tent
ended
went
with a
through
bang,
box
like right
trailer?
after the GP heat? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the GPs
Yes.
were stuck
That-
in the
that
water.
We
little,
left 3 GPs in the
Trawler
water,
went over.
Yeah.
and Anne Marie was having a fit because she told me I had to get them out of the
Yeah,
water.
no.
And I
No,
told her
that
they
was a
weren't
good
coming out. Tell them to sit in the water and hold on.
Yeah, that
It
was
was more dangerous for that boat to be on that crane than it was sitting in that water.
Oh,
I tell you
yeah.
that.
It was crazy. And
Yeah,
then I guess there was a boat that capsized down the river. So
Yeah.
I jumped on the boat at Region 4 Rescue, and we went up the river to help them. And it was like, man, this was one hell of a storm. I can tell you that. But
one of our
Oh,
rescue
really?
boats or towboats.
Oh, damn. I
oh,
didn't
was
know
it the
that.
towboat? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Oh, jeez.
yeah,
He knew better, but anyway.
yeah.
Wasn't the only boat over that weekend. It couldn't have been.
So, no, I just want to say I appreciate you guys putting on that race. I think it's definitely a racer favorite event, and you guys do it year after year, and it's greatly appreciated because I couldn't imagine a year of boat racing without Cambridge. So, hats off to you guys for keep doing it, and thank you.
It's been
Yeah,
I've been
definitely.
going to that
Thanks
race
a
my
lot.
whole life and been racing the last couple of years. It's been one of my favorite race courses to race, even though I've only done it a couple times. So looking forward to getting back out there next weekend. But from a spectator's point of view, it's one of my favorite races. Being in the pits, it's cool. The fans and the crews and teams are all so close to each other there. And I think interaction's almost a given. And I think that's something that the sport really needs. And hopefully we can keep finding ways to capitalize on it.
Actually, I think Cambridge
I
was
would be
my
shocked
first
if it
race
wasn't
after I
mine.
was born. Yeah, I was there like a week or two later, and then Brandon had to beat me to a race 3 days after he was born, or was it 2?
Yeah, one.
One.
At least that's the story I'm told, whether it lied or not. I don't know.
Don't remember that, huh?
No.
That's
And yeah,
overachieving.
Your mom texted me that Poppy took his driver's test at Cambridge too. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the heritage goes back. Like I said, it's been there for racers, by racers. It's going to continue that way. I think we'll get to 150 at some point, and it'd be pretty cool to do another Triple Crown or something. Maybe 125 here. That's coming up a little sooner. Do another
I
Triple
was going
Crown.
to say, some of us might not see the 150.
yeah, you gotta
Yeah, I'll
gotta
send
do
it
another
too far out.
do another Triple Crown. That was an amazing weekend.
Nobody else has done that in the U.S.
Really?
We got to do
No.
that one again.
That's
Anytime.
awesome. That is awesome. It
pretty
was
cool.
it was definitely a
When we were done, I think
spectacular
we
weekend.
realized why.
No doubt there.
I think back, one of the most rewarding moments for me, I think of all this time we've gone through it, goes back quite a number of years ago. And like I said, when Tom took over, we kind of talked around and said, we got to find a way to do something a little bit different than what we've been doing. Conversation was held 30 years ago, like it is today. And we said, we got to find a way to take this race to the next level. And at that point, Decatur had been the Eastern Divisional Championships forever. It just was automatic. And the way it was back then is you went to the APBA meeting and the IRC, and they came up for the bids, and everybody gave them a bid for whatever they were going to do for event they were going after. And Tom and I got together and we said, we're going to make this right. And we went in with a PowerPoint presentation. And Decatur came in and they said, okay, Eastern Divisionals, who's interested? And somebody from Decatur stood up. We'll do the same thing we've always done. And then they said, Cambridge, understand you have a presentation. And we said, yeah, but we need a couple men to set our AV equipment up. And it was like, huh? What? And when it was all over with, you could heard a pin drop in the room. And Tom and I went back and sat down and heard somebody said, there is no way in hell they cannot give Cambridge the Eastern Divisionals. And they did. Wow. And that was the first year we did the divisionals on Friday and Saturday. And we had the awards banquet, a formal awards banquet over at Governor's Hall at Sail Winds Park, and recognized all the winners then. Because up to that point, most of the time when you won the Eastern or Nationals, Summer Nationals, whatever it was, everybody was gone home before they finally announced who had won it. Yeah. And we said, that's wrong. You need to have this. And Mike Weber was I think he was the inboard chair then. He was the inboard chair, and we invited Mike to come up to the mic and say something. And Mike comes up to the microphone, and the first thing he says is, Cambridge has changed forever how a race course, a divisional race will be measured. And we kind of looked at each other and it's like, ha, we did it. Yep. And it was kind of cool because, I mean, it's awesome. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest things that some race sites have got away from is all of us getting together. And it's one of those things that I'm pushing towards HRL. I feel like HRL races, everyone goes their separate ways.
Yeah, we struggled with that.
Yeah, having the crab feast you guys had for years, and obviously May's a tough date to be able to do that. But it just got everyone together, tell lies, tell stories, those kind of things. And yeah, the awards banquet was awesome. Get people up there. You don't have to wait till the inboard banquet in January to see this. You get to have the excitement, talk a little bit about your family, your team, all that stuff. It was really cool what you guys were doing then.
Absolutely.
That's why we try to keep it going.
Yeah, we do.
We appreciate
it. And energy.
Cool. Yeah, well, we're trying to come up with new ones. So it seems like every week, if we can get organized and get these ideas on paper or something instead of just on this podcast, we'll be all right. We'll start making some PowerPoints here shortly.
We appreciate it. You guys have worked hard on this podcast and done a great job with it. So
thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And it's given results. So yeah, you're on the right path.
We appreciate it. It's folks like you that make us do it. I mean, all the blood, sweat, and tears you've put in this sport to do what you do for the races, being at the races as a racer, those kind of things. It's kind of the path we are forced to follow now and try to take it to the next level.
The podcast is easy. This is easy to do. You guys do the hard part. No, yep. So, the least we can do is try to promote the sport, get the good word out there, and try to get people involved. Because this day and age, you need content on the internet. You need people to get them engaged on the internet. That's what this is trying to do. So hopefully it works. So your guys' hard work can pay off when we have more people show up or more people get involved in the sport.
Well, that's why I say what you guys do are so important, because if you don't do what you do and we don't do what we do, it's all going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes all of that, especially now. You know, the old days of there was, I don't know, 200 racers around. So getting 60 boats at a race just because it was the weekend and everybody did it are gone. It takes the work that you do along with the work that we do to make it happen. So
When my dad was racing back at the end of World War II, so in the late 40s, early 50s, I've heard stories of them getting a caravan to go to a race somewhere, leaving Cambridge.
That's awesome.
There will be 20 boats in the caravan that would leave
That's
Cambridge.
awesome. That's awesome.
I know the coolest we've
That's
seen
real
is
cool.
like go across the border, and
so
you know you might find a couple pulled over getting inspected at the same time. Shoot, I don't know. We might have quite the convoy this year.
You better
actually.
knock on wood. You better knock on wood.
We'll see how
knock
everything
on
goes
wood
with that
for
this
you.
year.
Yeah.
Be fun. Cool.
But yeah, I think we've hit on everything we wanted to hit on. Asking you guys, do you guys have any closing thoughts before we let you go for the night?
it's up to you.
You know, I would love to have the GPs back here. It's a hell of a show, no question about it. But I think, you know, there was a lot of criticism about us not having them and that the show would deteriorate. Locally, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Sure, there's a few folks who are going to miss them. But as several of you pointed out already, the 350s, the 2.5s, and people here love the skiffs. You know, they put on a show, and we'll have quite a show, and it's a show that we can afford.
Yeah,
And that's really when at the end of the day, you got to pay the bills, and if you can't pay the bills, you can't stay in business. So we are a small community. We will have a somewhat limited demographics to draw from, and so we got to face what it is. And I'm optimistic that we're going to do that and continue to have, you know, a good event for a lot of boats.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Obviously, I love racing and wanted to race GP there, especially last year. I honestly never knew how much it was going to mean to me to win there until I finally did it. I haven't won there except for the Triple Crown till last year, and just the overwhelming of emotion, people coming up to me, the people that I've seen for years, and the Hills Point gang, things like that. It means so much, but also see where it is economically for you guys. And like you said, I think it's going to be one of the best shows you see all year for HRL. So fans, if you're in the area and you're not down at Cambridge, you're going to miss one heck of a show, because we're going to have more skiffs there than ever before at an HRL race. And obviously they put on a good show last weekend in Edgewood with some new drivers out there. So it's going to be exciting, all classes. And it's the first race of the year. You know, all these people have been itching to go all winter. It's going to be a good deal, and we're excited to be there, excited to see you guys, and we're going to do our part to get as much content as we can and promote the race the best we can during, after, and into next year and years to come. So we appreciate you guys coming on Chasin Tails and sharing with us some more of the details of the race, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you,
Thanks
guys.
a lot.
Sure.
Oh no.
All right,
Oh,
I gotta clear. I got some people in the chat who are getting all mad.
I thought Bobby was like this. Hold up. I got a list of shit to say tonight.
Do I have a list?
I do.
I do. But we'll see if that pops off in the comments. Anyway, people in the chat, look, I was not talking about the West Coast not
I think
supporting
you were
the East
very
Coast. We
blatantly
love
clear
when you
about
guys
that,
come out
actually.
there. And I know, but you have these West Coast guys going off. We support this East Coast race, this East Coast race, this. Look, I'm not saying you West. I'm talking about Region 6, 2, 3, and 4. Trying to band together to support the races out here, because West Coast, they have the best setup. You know, it's one little area. They all can all support the area, and they could have a nice little series out there
with
nice
lots of
series.
sponsorship.
Lots of
You
sponsorship.
don't imagine
They
since we've been in Unlimited, man, you know how many sponsors in the Seattle area have big money?
Oh,
Like, if you created an
so
HRL
sweet.
out there, holy crap, you'd have one
Bob, you hit your mic, bro.
badass thing. Yes, it's the best way.
Stop
Bobby's
touching that.
muted
Dude.
while
Move
he's
it farther
raging.
away.
All right. Now,
All right.
anyway,
So before
So-
Bob goes on another rant real quick,
I don't-
do we want to go over the Edgewood results and the Chelan results from the weekend?
yeah, why not?
Chelan's pretty simple. They got
Yeah.
blown out. I
Well,
think there was one heat, right?
There was one heat, and the winner was Kyle
That
Davenport.
thing was moving.
Or 2.5
He was
stock.
running, man. I seen that heat, man. He was running. I really expected Monkey's boat to be super fast with that Grant Liddycoat motor, but maybe the rough water setup not right. Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He did buy a Ford at the end of the year last year.
Yep.
All right. Then Edgewood for Saturday, 1 liter stock. We had Richard Shaw, the winner.
Let's go, Richard. Finally
1
got that
liter.
Everything was-
EFI
looked good
engine
the last
running
couple
good,
times
and
I've
it's
seen it run.
kicking ass. That's awesome.
Yeah, he was quick. Ran down the 5, past him for probably
Gotta say,
4 feet at the line.
Was
It
the
that
was-
last
was my
time that
first
thing
boat
ever.
was struggling when
Yep.
the wrench fell through it in
Yeah.
Cambridge? Because I feel like it was good all last year.
Yeah. Yeah. That might be the good omen. The wrench fell through it. Whatever it hurt, they fixed it. It's definitely possible.
For 1 liters, we got Reed Mellowick,
This is was that was Reed's first weekend?
2.5 stock.
Was that- that's
John
not his first
Shaw.
weekend. Okay.
I think it was his first weekend driving that.
Did he
boat.
drive it at Caesar's
Oh,
Creek?
for
No,
sure.
I
know
thought
he's
he drove
driven
it at
He
Caesar's
drove it
Creek.
last year,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I
Very
think he
new.
was off
Yeah.
Good shit.
restriction or something, maybe. But
That's awesome, though. That's awesome. There,
Yeah.
you talk about we were on the kick of sporting races. That is one family that sports every race.
Did I hear
they
Chris
just love
Ritz-
to go racing?
Chris Rich's engine got sawed in half by his crank.
I guess. Yeah, I think he was trying to go out the next heat and then took the cowling off. and
I
realized the
hope-
motor was broken.
I hope that wasn't his engine. He was waiting 2 years from Scheckler from.
yeah.
Man, that sucks. That sucks.
For skiffs, we had the Sam and Jerry Wancio duo. No Max this
Jimmy's
weekend.
getting
Yeah,
he
Sam
got-
did
by
a
his
great job.
nephew.
He got
Sam
walked
did a
this
great
weekend.
job driving.
Oh,
all
Sam
weekend.
drove?
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
were
they-
fast.
Oh yeah, Sam always drives it, right?
They go back and forth
well,
throughout
Max
the year.
usually drives.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Sam was doing a great job.
Really? Did Sam start driving another skiff and then
No, she was
she
in
used
the
to
T-boat.
drive?
The T-boat
Okay,
for a while.
she never drove the Barney skiff?
No, they never drove. Neither one of those drove the Barney Skiff. They got that white one, that was around for a while, and Max was driving it. Oh, Sam might have drove that one too.
Yeah. Okay.
And then
That's
once
what
they got
that's
this
what it
one.
was. Okay, it wasn't the Barney boat.
Yeah.
Barney skiff.
For SASE, there's 3 names here, so I'm well, SA24 Paul Fitzgerald and SE9 Ryan Kimmerman.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
it was
okay.
cool to see Jody Klaus out there with he got that motor off the TRD motor that Bonacinis used to have in their unlimited light.
Way.
He
Oh,
has
really?
that in his flat bottom. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool
Really?
setup. Yeah.
That's sweet. That's sweet.
And I mean, he was hanging with Paul for a bit. Not many
Man,
people hang
it
with Paul
is
Fitzgerald.
hard to beat that yellow boat, man. That
Yeah.
yellow flat bottom. Like I always said, it would be fun to drive a flat bottom. There's only a couple I'd probably drive,
I'm good.
and that yellow one is one of them. And that thing is sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just hooked up on
And
rails
sounds
and
cool.
just goes. Yeah. Paul does a great job driving it. I mean, I know he's getting up there in age, but he does a phenomenal job driving it. So
100%.
And then popping over to Sunday, the only difference we had it was in the 1 liter stocks. We had Carolyn Oliver won in the T5.
Yeah.
nice, great job, Carolyn. Awesome.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
other than just reading results, it was a pretty good weekend.
Oh
I think
wait!
God,
you
what
didn't
do you
give
want
me
now?
the 350. What did Brandon do?
You all read it, Crank? There was a lot of
Did-
stuff laying in the oil.
Please tell me
pan, I'll
Paul
you
did
that
not
much.
blow up an engine.
Yeah.
No,
he pulled the rocker
just
stud out.
he
Hell
just
yeah.
wanted to
Yeah.
park in my parking
I was about to
lot.
say, Paul,
He
we
was like,
cannot
hey.
start this year like
You
last
should
year.
have
He
seen
got
the
a
confusion.
light, so
We
he
gotta
turned
find
off.
some luck.
Yeah,
If you-
I messaged him. I was like, Paul, you stop breaking stuff, and he's
Dude,
like, I'm
he-
trying.
There was commitment. So he pulled a rocker stud out, and then for some reason in his box truck, probably because he's trying to build a new box truck, but also building Grindell's trailer that Grindell put him behind on. because he didn't let him fit the boat before it went to get painted, but that's another story. He didn't bring his rocker arm spares with him, so he's asking everyone, hey, you got one? No one had one in the pits. So he went on Facebook Marketplace and found some dude like an hour away that had a
No
rocker arm
way.
stud and drove his box truck there to get it. So he comes back to tell me this story, or not, he wasn't coming right back to tell me the story. He was just driving by when we were standing out there that night. And he just shuts his box truck off and it's still rolling. And he stops, tells me it, and then keeps on going. And it was like off and back started. And all of us looked at each other and was like, how do you do that? Like, why shut his truck off while it's rolling? It's going to stop.
Oh, no doubt.
Pretty slick move.
No doubt.
He's done that a time or two, I'm guessing. But yeah, it was, I mean, good racing. I think Edgewood is one of those races like we talk about that has a ton of potential. They have a great area there. It's a clean park. Bring in some vendors, some little keychain sales, those kind of things that bring, I mean, there's so many like Main Street. They shut Main Street down in towns and they have all these vendors and you go walk through and there's like hundreds.
They do there?
No, they don't. But I'm saying like here, I've been the one in Middletown where like they just put a bunch of vendors. It could be like the HVAC companies, all these companies that just, they put a tent up and they're just trying to get engaged with the community. Like that kind of stuff, I think it'll draw people, and then they're like, "Hey, there's a boat race here. Like, let's stay and watch." So I think there's a lot of potential. I know there was a lot of county issues, like bureaucratic stuff, but I think this coming year, if we can build upon it and maybe get a faster crane driver, we'll be okay.
Now the race out west, they unfortunately only got one heat in, and that was 2.5 stocks. And Kyle Davenport. I guess smoked the competition.
I saw a clip of video.
I heard he was super fast.
He was moving pretty good.
He's moving.
Yeah. So that's what I heard. So
yeah, and the
congrats
GP15
to him, and sorry that everyone didn't get to run. I know the Browns, they were looking forward to getting that 1 liter mod on the water and getting that going, and but Mother Nature just didn't cooperate. But
I couldn't believe we got the racing in, to be honest. If you looked at that forecast Thursday, I didn't even want to go. And it's only 45 minutes away. I'm like, we're going to get blown out all weekend. What's the point in going?
Yeah, I was surprised.
It's going to rain.
I checked out the weather, too, because I was on that
Sunday,
trip, and I
was
was trying to see what was going on, see if there was a decent chance that it'd rain because everybody was busy. And I was like, I don't think I'm going to have to worry about this, to be honest. But about 20 minutes later, got a text from Mom, hey, they're running.
Right.
I was pretty bummed. I went out and got those batteries for the fan and everything. And
You forgot to take batteries.
Didn't even get to use them. Dang.
Come on.
Yes.
Double A batteries.
how many batteries?
like
now
that.
You could have
Just like Dave said we
could have
would.
forgotten. You forgot double A goddamn batteries.
I remembered
You got
everything
stuff
else.
sitting downstairs in the door, dude.
Well, it's okay. I mean, we planned to use a real camera and a laptop. I had the internet and everything figured out, and then forgot to get the right cord. So we had to get back to the cell phone live stream.
How many boats showed up at Edgewood?
That was solid.
33.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair amount of skiffs. I mean, the skiffs were pretty cool. It was funny to watch our buddies Dallas and Brendan out there battling it out, and their brother-in-laws and their sisters are on shore. Just I've never heard so many babes on the radio. Courtney's on the radio. She's like, "Good job, babe. All right, babe. Do this, babe." I was like, "Hey, you can stop with the babe."
He's probably trying to talk. Shut up.
He said he's turning the cardo down because it's like a scroll on the side of his head. But the best one about that is Corey's riding with him. And I guess Courtney was like, "Hey, I love you." And he's like, "Hey, there's 2 people in this boat. You're going to have to give me some love."
I know, shout out to Juanita Pedersen, too, this weekend, getting second place overall, I believe.
Was that the light?
It's pretty
she did
cool.
good. Yeah, the final,
that the
man.
light
It was
blue?
like she found second gear in the final on Sunday.
Dude, I was kind of, like blue
Yeah,
and yellow.
Blue, yellow,
Blue.
black.
Go back
It's
and watch
dark
the
blue, yellow, black, and I think maybe orange.
7-7-7-1.
She had me a little shocked on Sunday. The qualifying heat, they were talking even about it, how she doesn't really get into the mix with the front runners as much, kind of just enjoys driving, and then she about wired the starting lane too.
Yeah. In the middle. Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, she's sending it.
Yep.
That's awesome.
And
I
that
was
gave her the confidence because I think
Yeah.
then after
think-
that she ran real
I
good in
think,
that
like,
final.
Oh, yeah.
what we're
She
seeing
was
from the
running
skiff
good.
class is so good for APBA this year. Like, obviously HRLs, they're going to get their skiffs, they're going to get everything, but
Yeah.
like skiffs are so enjoyable to watch. Like, obviously the hydros are awesome, and with the hydros, like, you get that, the faster they go, the more enjoyable they are watched. Might not all agree with it, but that's the reality. That's what people like to see. The skiffs are like such a twist on that, and
Yeah.
you get 10 of them out on the water, and you're going to have a battle going on in multiple places on the course, pretty much guaranteed.
Now, if I buy a Texas Tri-Haul, will they let me run with the skiffs?
I
should.
think you
Hear
should
about-
be able to.
you hear about
You
that
should be
tri-haul,
able
dude?
to. We'll put that rule. We'll put
Scary
that rule
Jerry?
proposal in.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. Luckily he's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
That's
flipped
crazy.
and got trapped in it.
Dude.
But he's okay. They revived him, rescued him, did what
I
they
saw a post
should
that-
do. I mean,
that
that's
sounds
that's
Now,
like-
that's
incredible.
scary.
But
It
yeah.
sounded like, not fully out of it, but kind of like miraculous recovery type situation, which is sweet.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah, he was under
told
for
that dude
like
was
4
86
minutes.
years old.
No air in those boats.
That's electric.
Yeah.
86. Getting in a
That
Texas
is.
tri-haul,
Yeah.
dude.
He'll probably
I mean,
jump back in one. He'll probably like, I'm good.
They should see
Lightning
if this
can't
dude wants
strike
to get in the
twice.
skiff
Come
if
on.
he's not done. He'd probably be like, hell yeah, I do.
Right. Well, yeah, Jen and Jamie, they're like, dude, do they not have, like, they should have them air bottles on your leg. I said, yeah, me and Mason said that too. And then we went upside down twice.
Bad luck. Damn.
Could you even strap anything to Mason's little leg? I mean, they're like little beanstalks, man.
Probably not. And if you told him to hold it, he'd just drop it like he did my camera.
Man,
Or my timer.
did you ever answer that question?
The first time he had the timer in his hand though, and the one in
Yeah.
Tonawanda, he came up and the timer was still in his hand. I'm like, you could have dropped that. Like,
Hey, your Uncle Dave wants to know when you're going to answer that Madison driver question about Mason.
Did he just
oh,
comment
that
on
one's
this too?
coming. That one's coming soon.
No. I was like, he never watches
No,
this
he
shit,
mentioned
man.
he said something last night. He's like, is he gonna? Like,
I'm gonna just
That
slide
was
in
gotta
there
Dave's
watch out.
somehow.
one of 2 Facebook comments a year. He just throws them in just randomly.
yeah.
Yeah, they,
Yeah, they do.
they usually have to
Oh,
do it,
damn.
Mason. Poor Mason, man. That's crazy. He's still mad because I made that terminology up for him, a Masonism.
Masonism.
When something's not going wrong on the boat, it's a Masonism.
All right, are we going to get anything serious?
Well, you got burning desires here, I guess.
I mean, I think we should start now. We should start now before national meeting comes up, and we don't get anyone too butthurt about rule proposals.
Oh, like we did last year.
Wow,
All right, so hear me out. I was touching on the subject a little bit earlier. All these racers want to be region racers, blah, blah, blah. They want to win region high points. Why don't we just split the country down the middle? You got your West Coast, you got your East Coast. So yours,
Just got Facebook open.
and then you create a series. You create your series on the East Coast, you create your series on the West Coast. Maybe we can come up with something where you have a national
We've talked about it.
a
Decatur.
national
At the moment,
race
Decatur's
in the
the
middle
place.
of the country, like Decatur,
Decatur.
the place. And I don't know how you would do it, because that would either A, you would have to make Decatur move to the last race of the year, or B,
I think you just
we'd have to figure out how to do it. But I think you need to cut the country down the middle, because who can travel? You probably have more people participate for a championship if they can travel only 15 hours around their house to go for a championship versus 48 hours across the country. I know it's not 48 hours. I'm just saying. It might be like 32. But across the country for one weekend of points and then travel back to go race another one. I mean, this country is way too wide to have a national
For where our
championship for where our sport is.
Yeah, there you go.
We don't get paid for this.
It's not to take
We
anything
don't
away from
get
the
paid
people
for
that
this. We
do
don't make
travel
money.
across the country. Like props to you guys. I think
No,
the point
not
is
at all.
like when you
Not at all.
have
Yeah,
and you know, maybe the East Coast struggles with this a little more than the West Coast, but when you have races that have such a decent portion of people, you know, within what I would consider a reasonable traveling distance, and obviously that's a relative term, but you know, if you put more on the line for them, hey, you know, let's call it 8 races on the East Coast. There's probably a couple more right now, but let's call it 8. You know, these 8 races count towards your points. You're going to be more incentivized when, you know, 4 races into the year, you look at your points, and instead of sitting in 10th, 12th, something, you know, anywhere in a cross country, a 2.5 stock, you got like damn near 25 boats. Instead, you're sitting in third, fourth, second, first, you know. Worst case scenario, let's say you had a bad weekend, you're in 8th, like you're still in it. I mean, we've seen that shit in HRL where somebody has a bad weekend, and you know, maybe it's 350 class might be a little different, but like guys have bad weekends, the next thing you know, they're right back in the mix.
Now, let me look at it this way. Not hating on the West Coast, not trying to favoritism on the East Coast. Take all your races on the West Coast, drop a pin in the middle of it. Add up all the hours it takes to get to those. How long does it take you to get to each race? I bet you it's under 5-6 hours. Take all your East Coast races. Drop a pin in the middle. You're going to be 10 hours to
I
a
think
lot
West
of
Coast,
races.
the one you get in the West Coast, San Diego,
10 hours to a lot of races.
Other than that's true. I mean,
but they only have 1 liter mods. Only 1 liter mods. So on the East Coast, you have to utilize more vacation days just to go to the East Coast races, let alone if you want to go for a championship and have to travel all the way out west for a title event to get those extra bonus points race, which they need to go away with, is bonus points races. They need to make all races equal. I don't care. It's stupid. It's to attract more boats.
I just don't think it's succeeded in doing
that race. All races.
You still maybe back in the day, yeah.
No.
I think it did back in the day.
Back in the day, but
you
now,
think about where we've come from. You used to have, like they were saying, the Easterns were always at Decatur, and I think prior to that, a lot of times it was Raleigh. You used to have to go to the Easterns to qualify to go to the Nationals.
Mm-hmm.
So like, we've come downhill a little bit to where we got to bring the prestige back, and I don't think it's points that's the prestige. I think it's the event. Like Decatur's doing a really good job. I think they're one of the primo here on the East Coast or center of the country right now in making the whole event something people want to come. I don't think any of the guys that, besides maybe a couple, traveled to Decatur last year because of points. And if we did the splitting of the coast, I think they would still travel to there because of the event. It's not. I don't think you're going to stop those guys that just love traveling. They love the sport of boat racing from going back and forth. Like us, if we want to set a record, we're probably having to go to Yelm or somewhere like that.
You're looking
out
at
west
Lakeland,
because we
most
don't
likely.
really have good record courses anymore out here. Yeah, that's it.
And then if you're on the East Coast,
dependent.
So from Delaware,
20,
how far is Lakeland
16.
if you want to go down to Lakeland?
16 hours.
16 hours. So from Delaware, that's 16 hours. Say if you want to come up the Mott Lake from Delaware, you're traveling 10 hours. So, I mean, we travel so much on the East Coast to try to, and you utilize so much vacation days from work. So to travel the whole country, the whole United States to go for a championship, it's virtually impossible. Yeah. I mean, can people do it? Yeah, some people can do it, but you have a lot of teams that can't. But do you have a lot of teams that would like to go for a championship if we split the coast down the middle? Abso-freaking-lutely. Probably in every class you'd have more than 3 boats going for a championship versus 2 boats in the whole country going for a championship in one class. It's kind of pointless. I mean, the vast how big our country is, it kind of watered down going for a championship because most of the boats know they can't do it. They can't. It's not feasible for them to travel across the country. They don't have enough vacation days. They don't have someone to watch their dog for a week. I mean, because you're gone for your 2-3 days travel there, 2-day race, 3-day travel back. So you're gone for 8 days at least for one race, for one weekend of points. I mean, we got to split the country down the middle. We got to make going for a championship a little bit more obtainable for teams. And if we do, I really think it would up participation at most of the races because they know they can obtain a championship on their budget. Because ask these guys who go for championships across the country all the time.
Yep.
They're spending a shitload of money.
Right.
I mean,
Well, and
go
I
ahead.
think on the promotion side too, like obviously what we're learning here is that we can make it a bigger deal. Yeah, you're chasing US high points. I mean, but right now, unless you know like how the points work, oh, I can drop this race. Like it's so hard to figure out. Where if you just drew it down the east and it's like, hey, you go to the most races, you win the most races, you win the high points. Like it's easy to follow. Fans can understand it. The points can be on the website quickly. Like they're up to date. They're not like gonna drop a race and then all of a sudden third goes to first. Things like that. It just makes it more exciting. I mean, like we touched on for the West Coast, like you have all them races. You have basically an HRL where everyone goes to the same event. And I mean, case in point, those guys last year, Monkey and Davenport, that they were chasing high points and it was going to come down to Lakeland.
Though.
It seems like a waste. Seems like for those two to leave their region or to leave their side of the country, come all the way out here to Lakeland to race for a championship.
Yeah.
Why not save the money and settle it there in Region 10 or the west, the left side of the country? Like
two boats,
financially.
Two boats who live a few hours from each other. They're going to travel. They're going to travel how many miles and down to the other side of the country, the furthest end they could possibly get to try to settle the championship. Like we need to figure out how to make it more feasible to obtain a championship. Like I know it's not trying to buy a championship.
Right now, you're buying a championship.
It needs to be easier. And also look at your marketing. Look at your marketing advantage. Once you do that, you get to go to a sponsor because like all these big sponsors like NASCAR has, they're syndicated across the country. But someone like River City Printing, for instance, they're not reaching the West Coast. But they might reach majority of the East Coast. So that might be more appeasing to them to want to sponsor a series that's located on the coast where their main business is.
It's not as diluted. Right now, I picture APB and board like if I was trying to market it, it's very diluted and very hard to market because you have different opinions on coast to coast what things are. And like you said, same.
I think it's very hard to market as a series right now.
To Seattle to jump it back to that.
It's an organization.
Places. Yeah.
Yeah, I know people are going to say, well, that's what we have regions for. Region racing is what's killing a lot of races.
Yeah.
Because we have a lot of races out there, but we need the boats. And our boat count over the past 20 years has dwindled so much that we need these boats in all these other regions to support each other. And I think if we split the country down the middle, not saying anything about the West Coast, but the East Coast, these boats will travel because they can obtain a championship. And let's face it, I don't care about region high points. Region high points does nothing for me.
I'm going to pull this out the trash. I do. 8th place, region high point. 8th place, bro.
Oh, they're like, Brandon's coming. Print up an 8th place.
I think the way you're saying a minute ago,
we're going to give it to him.
Yeah. Bad part is there was people behind me.
When you went up there, were everyone yelling speech?
No, dude, I wasn't even there. Somebody texted Mason about it. I was like, you kidding me? 8th place? Like, that's like a participation trophy, folks. Give me my dopey dunker. That's all I care about.
Yeah, dopey dunker.
Really ain't got no dopey dunker.
Man, speaking of dopey dunker, I think Andrew Tate's earned a lot of those the past 2 years. That dude is flipping, twisting, and breaking everything.
A tunnel boat to him is like a skiff to me. We should probably just stick to inboards.
All right. Yeah. glad he came out all right, but I think that's 2 years in a row in the tunnel boat.
Those things are wicked, man. Like, I get so confused watching them sometimes because there is no lanes, right? That's not a thing. They don't run
Nope.
I have no clue.
As long as you can clear the guy with the outboard, you can come over on him.
He weren't cleared. I don't know if that guy slid out or he came over, but they hooked up and he just went.
I like the way you're saying though, Brandon. Like, like
I
HRL,
have
like
no
what
clue.
they've been able to build is like I argue in a lot of ways their ability to market a series. I mean, one, they have fans actually, and it works. This is something that I don't know is necessarily replicable on a big scale like you might find. Even if you split the coast, you're still looking. You know, we travel to Cambridge, that's 10 hours. You know, up there and there, especially the core of their circuit, you're looking at a couple max. But they're able to market it as a series to where at the minimum you have people that, let's say Bahornwall is the site that they go to, that's in their backyard. They still tune into Valleyfield, see what's going on, and tune into Cambridge, see what goes on at the beginning of the year. And I think when you lose the ability to market all of the races together versus individual race sites, which as we've just learned, like these guys work really hard to do that. If we can help them in a sense where there's an extra factor, where there's this connection of races, and there's something that happened at the last race that's going to matter at this race, and it's leading into the next race, and you know, all the way through the season, we've talked about it with particularly with HRL because it's somewhere where we can, the story that goes with the racing and the story that goes behind the scenes and all that stuff, points battles, all those things. If you can't market it as a series, like that stuff's not even in the question.
Exactly.
Yeah, so if we do split the country, you can market the East Coast as a series. You can.
Speaking of
I mean,
that,
they
hold
should
up,
already be doing it, but
Speaking
you
of
can.
that, if this is a big thought, who doesn't a board chairman go up for grabs this year? Which one of us is running for it?
Yeah.
Austin.
I think I was talking to Kyle Pipes the other day. I was like, either we need someone good looking or someone that's just going to be like, I don't like what you're saying, so shut up.
Kyle Pipes is definitely the second
Should
one.
ask Timmy who he'd rather debate.
But yeah,
I think that's a pretty easy answer.
Right. Yeah.
but the West Coast already has.
I'm in danger.
The West Coast already has a series. They
I think
can
for them
make
the
a
infrastructure
perfect
is there
series
to
out of that.
build a
I
West
mean,
Coast championship.
If you look, if you compare it, they're kind of set up like HRL.
And the thing that they got
100%.
going really
is
good right now is they built
100%
that T
perfect,
class, so
and
they have a
they
really
should
good
run with
injection
it.
of young blood that's going to move up through the classes. And if you can keep that flow,
Oh,
even,
yeah.
even if you don't get
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 people like they had join at the same time, even if it's 1 a year, 2 a year like that, and keep filling out the classes, that show would be awesome. And it's not like it's bad right now by any means.
Well, look at
I go-
Katie Brown. Katie Brown's racing a 1 liter mod this year, and her parents
I
just
know
bought
Carson's
a 2.5
gonna be
stock,
moving up
and
to
she'll be
2.5
stepping
stock
into
here
that
at some
next
point.
year. So that's.
I'm sure you'll see some of the other guys.
Yep. Yeah. So
even that. So like you talk about marketing, it always comes up on like the IRC stuff. Over the 20 years I've been listening to it, is like, okay, what's our 5-year plan? How are we going to do this? When you are thinking of an entire nation, it is way harder than like if you just split it too. Because like we have a lot of race sites with fans that we have to focus on what they want. So like starting procedure, all those like dramatic things that get argued on for hours that really just waste people's time instead of focusing on the important things to grow the sport could be kind of done away, because then their side's going to do one thing, our side's, and it's not like we're going away from each other. We're just trying to improve upon what we already have. And I mean, it's a no-brainer to me at this point. There's a lot of series to do it. You have K&N in NASCAR. You have the Supercross stuff that do the 250 East, 250 West. Like, until there's big money infused in the inboard racing, I think it's a no-brainer.
You got to consolidate
it's
to
gotta
where
be
you
split.
can do what's in front of you very right versus continuously trying to just do enough with this big, thing. I don't want to say it is a big organization, but it's a lot of different regions and race sites and stuff trying to. They're not even. Let's be honest. It's not like they all work together. Like they all put on their own show, and it all kind of gets roped into the same thing. What if it all was a show? Even if it's 2 different shows.
Yeah. I mean, APBA kind of set it up years ago. How many years you been racing, Brandon?
I'm gonna be 20 next year, so I'm at 19, I think.
19. So 19 years ago they set it up when they decided let's split to have a East Coast rookie and a West Coast rookie.
Yeah.
Might as well. You guys said it, so let's split it down the freaking middle. So yeah,
we can all still get together at the APBA inboard banquet. Like it'd be cool. You have the East Coast, the West Coast, be a bigger party.
Would benefit so much from that, because I think if you make that, because I think you still have summer nationals. I think instead of Decatur being Eastern Divisionals, that's the summer nationals, and it's a winner. Yeah, a U.S. national,
It'd be
a winner take all.
U.S. national.
You do what?
And then you can run, you like the outboards do. I don't know how the outboards work, but I really think this is not, sorry to cut you off, but I think this is how they do it because they have different colors and stuff like that on their boats on the numbers. So I feel like if you set it up and you go to Decatur, if it's the U.S. Nationals and you win,
I agree.
That's your U.S. one.
Yes.
And then
That would
out
be
here
awesome.
it would be like with a little
I
E
agree.
or something
And you
next to
can
the
come
one
up
if
with
you wanted
any
to run
sort of
the wrong.
other
Like,
emblem to put on
would
a
be
boat
cool.
to recognize West Coast champion, East Coast champion. And that when you bring bonus points into play,
and
you make the U.S. Nationals. Yeah.
Make it the
and make
onus,
it worth
the onus,
traveling.
only
Only
bonus
one.
points
double
race
points.
is the
I
one
would
U.S.
even think
national
you could
race.
go beyond that for
Yes.
a summer national event when you have the country split.
Yeah, triple points.
Brendan, what's the runoffs mean in SCCA?
For that one, it's just a championship. It
Just
has
a
nothing to do with
championship?
points.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah, like
then-
points are already decided by the time you do that.
Then I say, have your most central race as your championship race. You win that, you are US 1, East Coast, West Coast, whatever.
Yep.
Or say, because you meet up, if you do win that, you are the US 1 of the whole United States.
Yeah.
Not just the
And
East Coast or West Coast, just in that class.
It's kind
the
of
whole country.
what's that? I forget the word of it. What's that trophy that we were talking about with
Yeah, the
New
Griffith
Zealand
Cup.
and Australia? That if
That
one
would be
East
really
wins
Griffith
it,
Cup.
That would be really cool.
So it's kind of like that. Like,
Yeah.
man, if a West Coast boat wins it, I'm gonna
That
go
would be
there
cool.
to Decatur the following year because I want to bring that thing back to the East Coast. Like,
Yeah.
Well, dude, there's
You're kinda-
always been this
just
like
the
conception of
storyline
an East
you
Coast,
can bring
West
around
Coast
the
rivalry, but how often do we
marketability to
actually
it.
race against each other? Imagine if we, and like, you know,
Right,
you have
not
the examples
often.
of
No.
the Triple Crown, and I think the East Coast, West Coast rivalry was one of the headline stories at that event. And it was cool.
I mean,
Well, and
this,
I think
this
it's kind of like we just said on when we were talking earlier is like, unfortunately, the way
Yeah.
it is, they actually travel out here more than we travel out there. Like this year, the Nationals are out there. I doubt one single boat from the East Coast goes, except for maybe a wide
And I
boat
think-
or two.
Like, obviously, Decatur right now is our most central location, and like, we don't really have anything close to that. But I think if we're able to do this and like it did see it benefit, that's when you really look in that central region. And if you even got like a crop of 3 races to kind of rotate between, because to be fair, like Decatur's probably leans East Coast. I don't have a map in front of me, but it's got to lean East Coast quite a bit. So you get something out in maybe more like the
Yeah.
Iowa area
now,
or something like that. And I don't know, that they probably don't have a ton of water.
No. Any look at the map. If it leaves Decatur, you look at the map and find like 3 big market areas and try to put on a boat race there. Like, I mean, and it's like, I know HRL's.
You ever tried to
the
race
Ozarks.
there?
Is
Is that,
like,
is
they've
that ever
Ozarks.
said, yeah, Ozarks be cool.
The Ozarks, tons
on
of money
boats, too.
around there. Tons of money
the
around there.
GPs ran at what was that, like, not Firebird, like, what was, they ran out at Havasu once when Dean Rojas was doing it. But anyway, like, I've had, because I run the GPA page now on Facebook, I've had a place in Texas ask to, what's it take
That
to
would
put
be
on an
sweet.
event, and look like a pretty badass area. So there's people out there. It's again the whole thing of marketing and social
$1
media.
million.
Yeah, that's exactly
That'd
like,
be sick.
dude, I think it was right outside.
I mean, that
of
could
Austin,
easily
too,
turn
and I'm
into
like,
biggest
that
race
is-
we got.
That's what I've been saying. Like, market
Do it.
down.
Do it during the winter. Do it during the winter. You don't want to
Nope.
be down there
That would
during
be
the summer.
sweet
No.
if we just had like
No,
a
not
random
at all.
winter race.
Even October, it's supposed to be like 80.
Really?
Yeah.
There used
That's
to
what
be
they used
winter
to be in
races
Florida.
all year round. You could go
That was
racing
sweet.
if you wanted to go
You had
down
the winter series
the
in Florida.
Louisiana,
I'm
Mississippi.
telling you, I'm getting sick and tired
You
of this
could go down-
friggin'
you could go
5
down
months
there and
sitting
race
on my
all
ass
winter
just
if you
thinking
wanted.
about doing it. Shit sucks.
At
Yeah,
least we
can't
sit
even-
around
can't
for
even
5
wait.
months and talk about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Before this podcast, it was people watching videos in their living room the whole winter.
Yeah, you
Now
guys
they can
are
watch
watching.
videos and watch the podcast of us talking circles.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
At least we ain't talking about the Honda left and right anymore.
Yeah,
Now we're talking about splitting the coast.
we can't talk about the Honda.
Well, we can't
We're
talk
wrong.
about the Honda.
We were wrong.
We were
It's
wrong.
so fast.
We were wrong. So
the
fast.
boogeyman's there.
So fast, it's breaking records.
It is fast. Don't get me wrong. We never sold that it wasn't fast.
Why the hell would
now-
we bring in something slower?
You have to. It is
Jesus
cool.
Christ.
I mean, the
I
fastest
just love
boat
all
now has
the
one, so.
immediate over, like,
Hey, it is
in
what
my
it is.
opinion, overreaction
be
to
fun.
John Shaw in the 92 going out and being blazing fast. It's like, okay.
Yeah, like they weren't fast all year last year, beating the Hondas that
Like,
supposedly
literally the
had
only
20
Honda
more
that
horsepower
consistently
than
beat them was Eddie, and I watched John beat Eddie on multiple occasions.
Yo,
Is there still
Yeah.
stuff to be worked out?
Yeah, so-
Absolutely. And
Give me a break.
like the reaction to where it's just like, let's just
Always
point
will be.
fingers and not work for solutions. It's just like, God damn, drives me nuts. I understand that the anxiety with Cambridge around the corner. Like, I'm not trying to downplay that at all, but
Eric April will figure it out. No worries. Got
Yeah.
faith in the man. You got to give him some time. He'll figure it out, and it'll be good.
that's it. When you got
No worries.
new people working with racers, organizations, like it just takes time to everybody to gel, figure it out, and
Yeah,
it's gonna be
it
fine.
takes it takes time. There'll be bumps in the road. You figure it out, and build on it, and it'll be good. Don't get me wrong. The Hondas are going to be fast, and if you get your ass kicked, just remind
I will
yourself.
say
where did
this
you place
just for
last
last
year?
weekend.
Were you winning last year? Were you losing last year? Were
Yeah,
you
I
finishing fourth?
think
Are you
on that
still
point,
finishing
and this is not
fourth?
to
Yeah.
take a dig at Grant Hearn by any means, but where the boats finished this weekend is where those boats have finished racing against each other repeatedly. But he hasn't even been racing.
Except Matt Sontag.
Like, the three boats that
I
have
know,
been racing,
I know.
I have never beaten Grant
I
Hearn
know.
on the water, and I know Grant's beaten John
That was
before,
my
but in
point.
times
That's
that
my
I've
point.
seen in the last couple of years, John has won every heat that I can remember. So, what is the immediate problem related to points or any of those situations? Yes, we need to. There's work to be done to get this thing dialed in, but to act like the freaking world is burning down right out of the bat is just insane. The one thing I want to talk about, and
Yeah,
Was the
Did you
Ford
not
dialed in
expect
for
it, though?
everyone?
I totally expected it. Good, bad, indifferent. We were gonna be backed.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
We got broad shoulders. We're
so
gonna
here's
carry
my
you
here's
with
my
us.
thing, and this
Dragging
I hope
this-
more than anything this
screaming,
just sparks
I
some
don't care.
debate amongst people. For Cambridge this weekend, assuming that, and I think the tough part is, like, how do we really find out if there's a solution? Or sorry, next weekend. How do we really find out if there's a true
Next
solution?
weekend.
Like the things are right where we want them to be by then. There's only a couple boats I'm aware of that are going to go test, and limited opportunity.
I believe
Tremblay's
someone
testing,
just
and I believe
commented
the 104 is
that
going to test. So
Tremblay
that's
was
awesome,
testing
and
today.
if I'm not
or
mistaken,
something.
the 500's testing at some point this week. So that's awesome. So we will get some
Yeah,
opportunities.
Friday or Saturday. So I think you're gonna have enough. You're gonna have enough of a sample size. I think everything they've done since they've been in boat, since Dan went testing the first time, and now every change has been getting it back to where it was last year, air fuel wise, and then obviously with the closed loop system working and stuff like that. So I think,
Yeah.
as of racers, of course you want it. Hey man, I want this right now. So we all get antsy. I'm in that boat. I was getting antsy too, but I think we're damn close to it, and that's what we were trying in Edgewood. Everybody had the same tune in Edgewood, so you had 4 boats trying to figure out what was going on, and obviously 2 of them were identical. One, us, was different, and then the 92 was a little bit leaner, but it's all things now we got data to look at and say, all right, what's going on?
Yeah, it's something to build on. I think everyone gets too caught up in their everyday life with, they pick up their phone, it's instant. They turn on the TV, it's instant. The internet's instant. So when you have something that doesn't go your way and you can't change it right away, people tend to freak out. You just got to take a deep breath, step back,
Like Austin.
let people figure it out. I mean, Eric
Let's talk-
April's going to figure it out, and
Let's talk about Austin trying to figure
I was
out
just
idling
watching those
back to the
GoPro
dock.
videos the
I
other
was
day.
gonna
It was funny
run.
as shit, man.
Stab all of you.
It is epic, man. My man
Start
got out of
battling.
the boat because your Dave is yelling at him. Turn the wheel. Idle. I tell you what, the Honda's got a really strong starter because it was just cranking. And Austin got out. He's like,
Did I?
done. It was the funniest thing. Me and Dave just looked at each other, and all we could do was laugh. Meanwhile, Dad goes over to the guy Ross, the towboat driver. He's like, "Get on this boat. Let's go out to it." And basically hijacked the guy. Took him out to Austin. He's yelling at Austin.
I
"Get
saw
back
that.
in the boat.
I didn't
I'll get
hear
it
that, but I
running."
saw a clip
He's
on the
on the boat doing
GoPro of
whatever
Uncle
he's
G
doing.
jumping off the boat back onto the towboat, and I'm like, damn it, he did it again.
Well, he had to yell at Ross because Ross is just kind of like cruising around. He's like, "Get that boat back over here." He's like, "Okay, okay." Ross, I talked to him later that night. He's like, "Dude, I was about to give him the keys, man. I felt like I was getting
To be
hijacked."
fair, if he said no, Uncle G might have taken the keys.
Yeah, I think so, pretty much. I mean, Austin was about 3 feet. If he could have got that thing turned around, I was going to swan dive and swim out there. Thank God he didn't get it turned around because that water would have been cold.
Yeah.
So tomorrow, the H773, the 306, 37, 666 are Chasin and Valley.
I know there's some
might as well just have a mini race there. Jesus.
too. So
That's like
Is that Tremblay is not going to Cambridge? Which Tremblay? There's a lot of Tremblays up there.
They need to be more specific about that. You say Tremblay. Are we talking about the cranes?
Miguel,
Are we talking about the Tremblay cranes?
Speaking of the Tremblay cranes, if they could come to Edgewood, Maryland, or any race that we only have one crane, that's the only way we're going to make it work because them dudes are the best in the business. They be picking things and dropping them all day long. Well, not literally drop
1 year.
No.
In a good way.
Okay, so
almost Paul Barber almost took care of that.
Sam Tremblay's boat's not coming. The F113.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah.
You got a prop we can
a
borrow?
rocket ship at the end of the year.
Yeah, why wouldn't you come? Got a prop we can borrow?
Yeah, send Mr. Pigeon.
Yeah, send the prop with the little man. So I think we touched on a lot of good things. I'm not sure if we have much to talk about. We're going to keep talking about this split in the country next week. I can tell you that. It's going to be like the Honda. We're going to shove it down your goddamn throats. Oh, I didn't mean to say that. But yeah,
one.
The delayed beat.
There we go. There we go. But yeah, we're gonna keep pounding that down the center, and
That was so much worse, dude.
There's a viral clip. I'm glad Pipes US commented. And then
we're gonna keep talking about
that's
splitting the country in a good way, and keep raising awareness on how good it'll help each coast.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep.
Anytime Bob talks.
I feel about the ending of this one. If you made it to the end, it's a good one. But yeah,
man.
We got Sean Bowser coming on next week, right?
Yep.
Talk about Decatur.
Oh,
Obviously, that's coming up in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
we're
we're talking about
definitely
splitting the
gonna
coast,
ask
and
him.
it'll benefit
That race.
use Decatur as the
I mean, he's a good one to ask too because I don't think he's
He
ever
does
won high
travel.
points, but he travels a lot. He goes to San Diego. He goes out to Washington. He travels to me from watching it from the outside for the love of the sport, for the love of the people.
Yeah.
Going to visit friends in different areas. Don't even need to put high
It's always
points in
in the
it.
chat.
Why is Bipes in the chat?
Well, he came at the perfect time while you were trying to.
We gotta
split
tell.
something.
We gotta tell Jessica to take the phone away from him on podcast.
Well,
nights.
I think he was in some type of meeting tonight because he's late. So, Brendan wants to know if you're coming to Cambridge. He probably
Me?
needs a rider.
Me?
Yep,
What's he need a driver?
he needs a ride.
No,
No,
I think you need to
ain't
ride
riding
down there.
no
He's going to
skiff.
ride in a skiff. Oh, I
No,
see.
he's
I see.
Brendan
He's
needs
from
a rider.
Maryland.
He's
from
got to
Maryland.
find somebody.
He needs a driver. He can ride.
There you go.
Talking about.
I don't know that I'd want to be driving a skiff with Bob in the passenger seat.
No.
J. Michael Kelly did it. I didn't think he was going to do it next
I don't
day,
think
though.
he did either.
One and done.
I think it was either we got blown out. Yeah, we got blown out the next day, and I don't think he was going to ride the next day.
Yeah. Well, see, again, back to the Masonism thing. Apparently, I'm the only person Mason would ride with. He's like, I ain't riding with anyone. But if you bring the Skip back on, I'll ride with you. I said, it's about the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I've tried to drown you twice. But you'd get back in. Come on, man.
Man, I heard some of the skip fleets still out because of your incident.
Yeah, man. I guess
Man.
it is what it is. Whoopsies. A couple of them were bumping this weekend too. I think actually,
no
yeah,
one
it
else
was,
bumps, not in
yep.
skiffs. No,
It was the 41 and 8. They came together, and Brendan went and
41
told
and the
Abigail. Abigail didn't even watch it, and that's Abigail's boat.
Who's
So,
the 8?
Nothing. Jorsel.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, nothing like telling your wife you scratched her boat and she didn't even know about it.
Yeah.
He'll learn. You
Coulda
just don't
came from
tell him.
anywhere.
All he had to do is not tell her, and she would never know.
Exactly.
Could have blamed it on her
Exactly.
after Cambridge. Or is he driving again? Is he driving again? Yeah, he's got.
Brendan said that. Brendan, he's driving all year. Brendan said that Mason told him he's got to ask his mom.
Gotta ask his mom.
He's what, 22, 23?
Oh man,
God, I love it.
that's hilarious.
God Bipes, it'll come to. He's asking if the JS35 will come to Madison. It'll come there if you purchase it. I'll make sure it's there.
Purchase it. River City Printing, JS 2. I don't know.
What's a Mat 6? It'd be 6. Madison's number 6.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I just learned that recently, to be honest.
Oh, well.
Did they have 6 all these years? Was it in the Madison movie?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah.
Have you learned Have you watched Madison movie lately? Have you learned it?
No, I got to, because apparently I got to reenact the walking. I'm going to walk from the camper in my driving suit all the way to the pits.
Are you going to hold
awesome.
pipes in your arms?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We do. I'm telling you, if I make the final there, win, lose,
You're going
draw.
to make the final. There's 6 boats.
Well, I don't know. Do they run all 6 on the mighty Ohio River? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'll run,
not on
I'll
that
run as
dangerous
a
2-mile course.
trailer if I have to.
Not on that dangerous 2-mile course.
Yeah, I mean, we ain't getting into that, but I mean, hey. I'll be a trailer's trailer just being a final. When I come in that dock, I'm going to stand up on the thing like I won the dang thing.
I hope for no reason you do this. You do this
I've
walk
always
down to
wanted to stand on the galley.
the boat from the
Pipe, shut up.
motorhome, and people just start following you. Just a big crowd. It'd be so funny.
That'd be epic, yeah.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
sure they will, because them
Hell
people
yeah.
are partiers. They're there early in the morning.
I know how we.
We're
about
hoping
to
to
have
get
the
some type of
drone
liquor.
following
Yeah,
you.
who's Dad's buddy?
Oh yeah. I don't know. I don't
Kyle's
think his
a
name's
dick.
not actually Kyle.
Oh, that guy.
Hell yeah.
That dude starts early in the morning.
What's
Wes.
his name?
Wes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're Facebook friends now.
Brandon,
Wes,
I gotta
yeah,
get
that's
Wes,
it.
yeah.
We can
Yeah.
just stage
Wes.
this thing. Just drag a cooler with a sign that says free beer. You'll have a crowd, and then as soon as they get there, just tell the
Free
first
beer.
guy pull it off to the side. And
Instant.
Man, I know the Beeve be watching our show, so he's probably going to be riding that cooler if we put that on there.
hell yeah.
Instant fans right there. West
Yep,
Hackett,
100
he said. West Hackett
100%.
is.
That's what we're trying to do.
That dude starts drinking in the morning. I guarantee it.
That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get
Oh,
a
that'd
liquor
be fun.
sponsor so we can go out there and like pour some drinks down people's throats.
Yep.
That's how boat racing should be right there. Get a good old sponsor that enjoys that kind of content. Be a good time.
Talk to Sean Bowser. He might be able to hook you up. That he was sponsored by that bourbon place for a while. Harrison's Bourbon, I think, or something like that.
I don't know if I want to be pouring bourbon down people's throats. That might hurt.
No,
Patron sponsorship.
Tequila.
man, yeah.
Vodka.
That's
That
honestly the
burns a
most
little bit.
common liquor sponsorship
Yeah.
I've seen thrown around on
Something like
stuff.
that.
Patron race cars, Patron boats, Patron dirt bikes.
Yeah.
Patron.
Yeah. They're huge
That's
in the
good.
motorsports. The owner is
Yeah.
big in the, and then his daughter, Alexis DeJorio, she runs the funny car.
Huh?
Kyle, cue it. We'll do that.
Do we want to let Austin end it?
Nope.
Yo, sign us out, Austin.
This
He
has been
just hit
episode. Yeah, I'm about to. That might
No,
as well.
Yeah,
no,
they
they
go
did
up.
that the first time they ran their own episode,
go
and they
up.
did it
Yeah.
like within 5 minutes. The show started.
They went pretty rough. But happy I'm looking at this because I can see what episode it is. This has been episode 49. It was awesome getting the some of the Cambridge boys on to talk about the race, tell us about some of the plans they have. It's been a huge race in the past, and it's only getting bigger. So excited to see what they have coming up for us in 2 weeks.
All right, and we'll see you next week with Sean Bowser joining us. Have a nice night.
Meow.
Thanks for listening.
Meow.